Hello everyone. So last time we set up our Thesis online framework, and today we are going to go over how to set up our thesis on our Thesis online framework. We will be doing this like last time in Visual Studio. If you already go into your gitlab.io page and you type slash the bachelor thesis, you should already get a bachelor thesis page. The same with master's thesis, that will also work. But this is like a basic layout of a thesis page that you can adapt, fill out, and start using right now. So we will be going over how to use this, go over all of the features. We won't go into depth into like specific features yet. I will make separate videos for those because probably you will need to watch this video once just to get the ball rolling and change some text, learn how to do all of that. And then for specific features like videos, those are the types of videos that you'll be re-watching again and again, I assume, once you forgot how to use them. So basically what the thesis page is all about is you have an introductory page that is set up like this, where you have your title, subtitle. We have the logo of our school on the top right here for people outside of our school that want to use the Thesis Online Framework. You can change this image. You have an image in the center and then your name down at the bottom. So we also have the degree, which you are, the degree for which you are creating your thesis. Then we have your school, the date, your promoters, and all that is on the first page that is themed like an actual first page of a thesis, even though it's an online framework. Then we have our abstract, in which we generally in 150 to 250 words try to give a summary of the whole thesis. This is generally something that also, when you upload your thesis to online sources, is used as the summary of your whole combined work. You also add some keywords on the bottom. These as well are used for online search, but here we just enter them as like a general overview of what the content of the thesis will be about. Over here, there's an automatic table of contents that's added. You will be able to see the same thing on the left here. So while scrolling through the thesis, you get like a table of contents thing on the left here, where you can just click on a specific piece and it will go to that piece. Also, if you go into chapters, it will show you the sub-chapters, and you will get an overview and like a quick click-through thing over on the left of the thesis page. So here we have the actual table of contents that is also automatically filled out, so you won't really need to do anything about this or change anything here. Then we have the introduction, where we like introduce the reader to our topic of research. So what is that we are researching? What are we talking about? Are there any specific topics that need to be introduced before reading the actual contents of the text? And then we also introduce our main research question here. So we have a main research question which we explore afterwards. So over here you can explore that research question, maybe add some more specific sub-questions and explain those. So that's basically your introduction. After that, we have our state-of-the-art research, which is kind of specific to art research that we do. So we have our state-of-the-art research here, which now is just one block of text, but this will likely be a whole lot more of content with actual content, images, text going through your state-of-the-art art. Then we have our chapter 1, and this is just where we start writing our main text, right? So this is where you are doing your research and actually talking about your thesis. So we can use footnotes. So over here we have this footnote with the 1 next to the footnote word. If you hover over that, because we don't use pages in this online format, we can just hover over the 1 to give footnotes. And these are not located in the foot of our page. They will be as well, but over here we can just hover over them and you will be able to see and read the footnotes. So for anything that is extra to your text that doesn't really need like a short explanation and doesn't need to be contained in the text for people that just know the term that you're using, you can add a small footnote where you can just here hover over it, and this will give extra explanation to the readers that maybe don't understand the term that you're using. So that's footnotes, so we'll be going over that. Then we have the citations, which are very important, of course, for any academical paper. So over here, if we talk about Don Norman and his explanation about the affordances of doors in the design of everyday things, we can add a citation over here. So if I hover over the citation, you can see that this cites The Design of Everyday Things, the book by Don Norman. And it shows the publisher and which pages you are talking about as well. So you can add specific pages to really be specific. So that's the citations and the bibliography. We'll be going over that as well. And then you can just add text. So the rest of it is just adding subchapters, text, writing text, and all of that. In the end, we have a conclusion. So the conclusion, I put it here again, but it's an important thing to remember. Your conclusion is not just a summary of your thesis, right? A lot of people think that you just basically summarize what you wrote about above, and then you're done. No, it's definitely not that. Basically, your introduction or your abstract is more like a summary of your thesis. In your conclusion, we actually want you to take conclusions, to actually write your conclusions about your findings and talk about not only what you did, but what you took from what you did, what you learned, what is new, what you are basically contributing to the field of, in my field of studies, game design, but it could be any field, right? So over here, you write your conclusion. And then in the end, we have an automatic list of all your references. So this is automatically updated by you using those cite tags. So lost them for a second. Oh, here. So if you use these citation tags in your text, this references list will automatically be updated. So you don't really need to change anything here. It automatically uses the APA format that is the most used format in theses all over the world. So if you just create your references list properly, which I will show you in a minute, and you use them in your text, this will automatically just work and be laid out the way it should be. Footnotes as well. All of our footnotes here are combined with a link back to the text as well. So if you click here, it will bring you back to where the footnote is. And then you can just hover over it again and see where it was used. But most importantly, these are used right inside of the text with a simple hover. So that's their most powerful feature. And then we have the appendix as well. So after our references and our footnotes, if you have any extra things like documents that you used for your thesis that might be interesting to the reader, like basically any type of document or resource that might be interesting to the reader but is not essential to understand the basic text, you can add them in an appendix. So for the first part, we have some acknowledgements. So generally, an appendix has an acknowledgements section where you recognize the people that helped you work on your thesis, any institutions that you want to thank. Might also be a good place to cite the software that you use to make your work possible. In our case, for game design, especially, like use Unity probably. Not all students, of course, but Blender, maybe other companies, software that you really want to thank in your thesis, people that you want to thank, all of that goes here into acknowledgements. Then we have a list of third-party assets. So if for your work you used any third-party work, especially this is again like pretty specific to our field of work, right? But if you use 3D models, if you use textures, anything like that for your work or during your thesis, this might be a good place to write about that. I will provide some formatting for this as well in the future, but right now just a basic list that looks nice to you is probably going to be fine. And then you can add extra appendices. So if you perhaps did some play tests and you did those in a structured format, we want to see the structured format, right? So We might want to see the document that you used, the questions that you asked, those types of things. So you might want to put them into the appendices. Okay, so this is already online. If you followed the last video, this should already be online, the basic version of this. It's just a bit hidden. You need to go to your webpage /bachelor-thesis. That's where it's at. For the master students, it's going to be at master thesis. Oh, the master, that doesn't seem to be right. Master thesis, there we go. So it's basically the exact same thing. It's just different pages on a different part of your website, right? So we want to change these. These are already online, but they're a bit hidden. They're not yet in the main menu on the top, so people really need to know that they need to go to this specific URL to find it. So how do we change this? First of all, we want to do some quick iterations. So we want to use Docker to more quickly see our changes and not have to push to GitLab all the time. So let's turn Docker on again. Probably it wasn't turned on with your PC. It might have, but just run Docker again. It will start it up and it will be ready in a second. There we go, engine running. And now we will be able to use our website again. If we go back into VS Code over here, I have a couple of things set up. So let me hide some things again to do it together with you. Let's see, Control K S, was it? No, that's not right. Control K V. Oh yeah, it's already shown. I can, yeah, okay, I can hide it that way. Okay, there we go. So let me close everything and we'll go over it together. So here I have my list of files on the left. So I have this Explorer view with all of my files. Today I want to recommend 2 or 3 more extensions for you to use. So if you go over to the extensions tab, there might be 2 or 3 extensions that might be useful to you. So over here we have the code spell checker tool that you can search for here in the marketplace. The code spell checker spell checks for English. You have another one, in our case for students at Luca, we can use the Dutch code spell checker tool as well. So you can install both of these and these will add some spell checking. Maybe disable one of them when you're writing for Dutch or writing for English, but these will spell check. They will give a lot of false positives because we are programming, right? We use a lot of special weird English words. So you will see false positives. That's all right. Just try to search in your main text for any spelling errors using this extension. Then we have the other one. Which one was it? Here, the Markdown Preview Enhanced extension. You might want to install this one. What this one allows is to already in VS Code see some kind of preview or of the code that you're writing for your web page. It will again have some issues. You won't be able to see everything because we use some custom code on the online framework. You won't be able to preview that, but a lot of the things it will be able to preview for you. So you might want to install this one as well. Let's now go over to our bachelor thesis page or our master thesis page. Again, these are the same, they just use a different URL. So I'm going to choose for the bachelor thesis.md file, which is located under _pages in the _pages folder, and then bachelor thesis.md, this file. I'm going to double click it to open it fully. And then here it is. This uses the same sort of layout that we used for introductory in page, our home page, right? So it has a bunch of settings on the top here that you don't really want to change. Just hands off, leave them as is. The only thing that you want to change is that once you want people to actually be able to navigate to your page, you can change this NAV, the nav, from false to true. So I will do this right now. You might not want to because you can just use the URL. I just want to show you in a second what this does. So I'll change this one to true. Over here we have a list of Unity games if you want Unity builds to show up. I'll show you that in a separate video again because it's a bit more complicated. So over here, starting from here basically is our page text. So all of this is all the things that you saw on the web page, and it's easier than it might look like on first glance. So basically what I'm saying here is that everything that you put in between these kinds of arrows, so like open brackets, exclamation mark, dash dash, and then at the end, dash dash, close the bracket. All of that are comments. So you might know from writing C# code that / is a comment. That doesn't work in HTML. So these are the comments that we write in HTML. So anything that is green like this, by using these comments, is a comment and is not shown on the web page itself. Important is that it will be in the, most probably, yeah, I think so. I think Jekyll actually does put this into the source code of your page. So anyone that knows how to show the source code of a web page will be able to read this. So don't put any passwords in this. It will just be sent with all the rest of the page over to your end users. So be nice in these comments. write like you would to a random person online. So we have a couple of other options, but I will just skip through these because these are not used yet. Over here, I have a comment explaining that the include down here, so this one, all of the text and code over here, is used for that front page that you see. So if I go back here, you can see that this front page thing, all of that is generated from this code that is put over here. You don't need to change a lot here. So what you need, so the school logo, you can probably leave default, except if you want to like show that you're from a different school. The title you can change here. The subtitle you can change here. So just change it in between the quotes. The picture that you use, you can change here. So you can choose a different picture. These pictures are located where the actual path is looking, right? So if we see here that the picture is located in assets/models/Utah teapot placeholder.webp. WebP is another file format for an image. You might as well use PNGs. That's fine. Or JPEG files is even better. But if you want to use your custom image here, you can go into, on the left here again, go into assets. So like assets, then models. I have it located here under models, and here is my image. I can preview it here as well inside VS Code. So that's the image that I'm using. Most probably you want to put your image into assets/img, and over here you can put like custom images. There is some already in the project, like your profile pic, and you can just link that one. So just if, for example, you want to use this profile_pic.jpg file, you can write here assets/img/profile_pic.jpg. That will link that image right here. Then you can change your name. So right now it's John Doe. Change it to your name, your degree, Master of Arts, probably applicable to most of you. Then Lucas School of Arts, your school, the dates on which you release your paper, and your promoters. So write it from last name, comma, first name, in this format basically. So write it like this, and that's it. That will just generate your front page for you. So that's the first complicated thing that you need to add. We are using this special kind of include tag here, which is not which is specific to Markdown, the thing that we're using. You don't need to know anything specific about it, but what you need to know is that we will be using these kinds of include tags, and then we will be setting, well, passing parameters, passing settings to it using these kinds of tags. So we will be using this a lot for images, for videos, for all kinds of like special inserts that are not just text, basically. We will be using these includes. Then it's just linear from here on out, right? So we have this front page, and then below that we had the abstract on our website, and it's just all in the same order, and it will automatically keep it in that order on your page as well. So top to bottom. First, we add the abstract, and over here we're already doing something specific. So by placing this pound icon, or like the hashtag, basically, we say that the word behind it, is a title. So that will make it just basically bigger. If I go into preview mode, which you can do by pressing Control-K, releasing, and then pressing V. If you installed that Markdown preview extension that we did earlier, you will be able to see a preview here on the right. So this will already show the basic layout of what we're writing here. gives some indication, not exactly the same as on your web page, but it shows some version of it. So here we see this include tag that cannot be rendered basically because this is a custom thing of ours. So this doesn't work inside the preview. Over here, by placing that hashtag here in front of the abstract, we make this a title, and we'll just make the text bigger, make it bold text, and we can add titles this way. So over here, we just have a simple title. If I want a subtitle, I can just press, just put basically 2 hashtags and do subtitle, which will create a smaller title. If I want an even lower title, I can put 3 subtitle. There we go, and it will be even smaller. So all of these are automatically added this way. So just by using those hashtags, you can put titles and determine the level of the title as well. So if you put 2 hashtags, it will be 1 level below abstract, and it will also like be contained under abstract in the automatic table of contents. So over here we have our text. You can just start writing text like you would normally. Don't really need to do anything specific. If you use quotes like these, which are backticks, these might not be available on Azerty keyboards. This is mostly a QWERTY thing. I'm not sure if it's located on a Azerty keyboard, but otherwise you can just copy it from the text here. By using these backticks, you basically highlight a piece of your text this way. So it gives a sort of highlight. These highlights are more expressive on our web page itself. If we go back and take a look, these highlighted like this. We're sort of abusing a feature of Markdown, which is putting code inside these tags. So by doing this, we highlight it basically. To me, it's an extra easy way to make your text more readable. You can choose whether to use it yourself. I find it a good feature. Not everyone agrees with me on this. If we see that, take a look at international papers, most people frown upon this kind of writing, but to me, it just makes your text more readable. So go ahead and use it for all, from my opinion, for what it's worth. So you can just write your text, use backticks between highlighted items in your text, and it will render them highlighted. And over here we have the keywords. We do a special thing with keywords here as well. So you see that the keywords word is actually put in bold. You can just do that with any word by using these 2 stars in front of any word. So if you just do that for previous over here, it would also here put the previous into bold text. So you can use that anywhere as well. Then we have our automatic table of contents, which is just this. You don't need to change anything here. You can just leave this as is, and it will automatically generate it. Over here in the preview, again, you will see nothing because, again, this is a custom code thing I made, so it will only work on the actual web page. Then we have our introduction. We do a new special thing here as well. We use this close bracket sign and then a space, and then we put our text to actually put some text into a quote. So like this, you can put any text basically inside a nice markup quote tag. So you can use that anywhere in your text as well while quoting someone or doing specific things. So that's the thing we're doing here. Then the rest of it is just basic text. Here, the state of the art, basic text. I'm also using these comment lines. These are just to like separate my text and make it a bit more readable when working on the code here inside VS Code. So this I just use to separate the blocks of text basically, right? Then we have over here, it starts getting interesting in our first chapter. So we have our chapter 1. Over here, we already learned that by using 2 pound signs, we can do a subchapter. But here we do the interesting stuff. So here we are starting to use footnotes. So for example, here I have the footnote, and then behind the footnote, again, it won't be rendered here because it's a specific feature of our Thesis framework. So by using the tag open bracket d dash footnote, close the bracket, and then in between that write your footnote, whatever is needed inside your footnote. That's this text. And then again, we close the footnote by doing open bracket slash, again, d dash footnote, and then close the bracket. That way we designate this whole block as a footnote that should be placed right here in the text. So this way we get a footnote that is hoverable and will show up at the bottom of your page as well. So that you will need to do that for every footnote you want to add. You can just write it straight into the text, into your code basically here, right? So that will add a footnote right there. This way of writing, the open bracket, close bracket, and then here open slash close, that's a basic HTML thing or an XML thing. When working with websites and XML as well, this uses this same formatting a lot of like the brackets. It's a basic HTML thing. So here it's a specific HTML tag, we call it. It's the d-footnote tag. It's not specific HTML that can be used for any website. This is like a specific feature that we created that we use. So that's how to add a footnote. Just basically anywhere you want to put the footnote, open this tag, write your text, close this tag. Again, syntax is important, so the slash here is very important, else it won't work. If something is going horribly wrong and you see errors on your page, probably you misused this tag, probably you didn't close the tag properly, or need to check it again to see if you didn't make any errors. Then we have the citations, which are a bit more complicated, just a bit. Over here we use the d-cite tag, which is different than the footnote, so d-cite. And then we do a space, so it's different from this one where we don't need to pass any parameters. Here we need to pass a parameter, so we press space and then we write key equals, and then we give the key to our specific citation that we want to use. And in this case, we want to use the Nintendo 2009 Iwata Asks ID for this citation. And then we close it again the same way that we close this one. Don't really need to write anything in between. So this whole tag, this whole thing, you can just copy and paste it and change the key. But you will need this thing to add a citation inside your text. And it will automatically do all of the numbering for you. You don't need to update any numbering or anything. That all happens automatically. You just need to use this tag here with a specific key to add some citations to your text. But then where does this key point to? We also need to write some information for our citations, right? So if I go ahead into our assets folder again, so over here we have all of the assets of our website, and then I open up bibliography. Over here we have a couple of bibliographies. I have one for your bachelor thesis, one for your master thesis, an example one that you probably don't want to change and just use as like some bibliography that you can take a look back at and see how things are done. And then we have our bachelor thesis one, which I will be changing right now. So over here we have a couple of examples, the same one that are in the example bibliography, but you can just go ahead right now and delete all of those. So delete everything in here. And then you can go back into the example and pick one. Pick one example, copy it over, and then change it to whatever you need. So, for example, if you want to cite an article, like a proper article from a paper, you can use this format where you write @article, give it an ID. So the cyan green text over here is the actual ID that you need to use inside your page. Then you add the authors, add the year, the title, the journal that it came from, the volume that it came from, the number, the pages that you're citing, the month that it was released, of the paper that it was released in, and then the URL if you actually have like a source to an actual file for this article. Then if you want to cite a specific part of a book, you use @inbook. You use it this way, so fill out all of this information again. And then here for your master thesis, if you're citing some other master thesis, you can do it this way. If you're citing an online resource, so like a website or any type of article online, you can do it this way. Add the author, the year, the title. You can add a note and add a URL to it. And this way you can do it for a lot of things. So for example, if you, like for an online article, you actually want to also put the last time you accessed it, because online articles can change, right? published papers generally cannot. So you want to write when you accessed it, so people can reference that date that you accessed it. And then for online videos, like over here, a YouTube video, you can do it this way, right? So, okay, so this is how you write how you basically add your add to your bibliography, add citations, or like sources for your citations. For example, if I want to cite this video, I can just copy over this tag, then paste it in my own bachelor thesis. If you want to add more, you can just copy another one, do some enters, and then paste it here. And that way you can just start expanding on your sources, right? And then in here, you can write a new ID. These one needs to be like specific to each one of your citations. And then you can change the information again, use a different URL. So you can just fill this out basically. And then inside, if you want to actually use this, you copy over the ID, go back into your thesis, and then here for the key, you just paste that key. And that's how you add these citations. So might take a bit of getting used to, especially trying to find all of the information here for your citations, but that's basically the same thing you would need to do for like a written thesis in Word or Google Docs or anything like that. The beautiful thing here is that you just need to enter this information here, and it automatically will be shown in the correct APA structure way all over your thesis by only using these tags. So that's the nice and easy thing that it allows for. So basically, yeah, just take a look back at your text on how you do things, and take a look at the examples. Also, all of these features that we're using are all contained inside the features.md page as well. So you can always also take a look back at this file to see all of the features on in the Thesis Online Framework. So if you want to take a look, take a preview into how to add images and all that, how to add tables, all of those things, how to add these kinds of diagrams that I'm showing here on the right, you can just take a look at this features.md file and then copy over the bits and pieces that you want to use in your thesis. But now let's continue here. So that's how to use citations. Then we have our subchapters, chapters, all of those. Here we have our conclusion. We use this bold text technique again. And then here we just have our references. So just leave this as is to get this automatic list of references. Leave this as is to get your automatic list of footnotes. And here for your appendix, it's basically the same thing again, just text with titles again. So this basic thing, the basic setup here is kind of simple. We did take like more than half an hour to go over it. But that's just because it's the first time, right? So basically, once you start using this, it will be pretty simple. You can just write text, write it any way you want, and then we can add design to it later by using these kinds of titles and all of that. So let's say that we changed some stuff. So we actually want to take a look at what we changed. We can save. And then because we are, we want to take a look on Docker, we can check if our instance is running. No, it isn't. So over here, I see that my Jeff from Luca GitLab.io one, the Docker instance is not running. So I can just right click it, press start. It'll take some time to boot back up, and then we can start changing things, saving. And then once we saved, we can go back into our browser like Firefox and take a look again. Let's see if this worked. Is it running? Yeah, there we go. It gives the green arrow, so it is running. If I now go into Firefox again, and then here go onto localhost $.8080, localhost 8080, we can take a look at our web page. This is still the same. And because I put the navigation to true, I changed that true flag. Now I have here my bachelor thesis link. You can also just go to localhost 8080/bachelor-thesis. Then you will see the same thing. So again, here we can see our thesis with all of its features still working and all of the footnotes and citations still working. I did change some of the citations and I deleted some. So these will give me a question mark because I deleted some things. I broke something. you will fix them by properly changing all of that. So those are the basic specific features of your thesis. So you can start writing your thesis now, start adding your content in here instead of writing somewhere else. If you prefer, you can still just write into Google Docs or any other type of document if that's easier for you. You just want to start bringing stuff over, bringing text over into this version as well. So start writing it over here. Hopefully these spell checker extensions are useful for you and actually, do some proper spell checking. Again, these aren't the same as like proper spell checking online. So use your own tools that you would use for that. Definitely do spell checking, please. Students always think that they write their text perfectly, but no one ever does. I don't either. So just do your spell checking properly. Then if we're done, if we previewed all of this and we're happy to upload it online to our website, we can just go into the source control over here on the left again. We can see we have some changes to our files. Right now, I only really changed my bachelor thesis.md file, and my bib file, I won't actually push this one. So if I only change this bachelor thesis.md one, so I only want to push that, I select this, I press the plus icon to put it into staged changes. And then I write a message, changed bachelor thesis slightly. I commit the thing, it's committed. Now I want to upload it by pushing here, push the commit to origin/main. Press this button, you can see the sync icon, it's uploading. Oh, it asks me to sign in again. Okay, let me do this for a second. Authorize again, authentication successful. Okay, there we go. Should be syncing. Okay, yeah, it was already uploaded right now because this stopped spinning. And then if we go into GitLab again, so over here you might not see your changes yet. You might need to go to gitlab.com, take a look at your project. Here it is. And it might still be running. Yeah, over here you can see by this icon, it's still running. So it's still sort of updating the web page, putting it online. And when this is green, you basically know that your new version is uploaded and you can take a look. We did have some students that didn't get Docker to run. For all of those students, I'm still trying to figure out how we can fix that. It seems to be only a few people with maybe older laptops or like specific setups for their laptops. So I'm still trying to figure that one out. But aside from that, you don't really need Docker, right? You can just, if you use this preview mode, so like use this to preview some of your stuff, and then you commit and upload it online, you can also get your website online. So you don't really need Docker. It's just a way more useful thing to quickly iterate on the web page that you're making. So it's still running. Installing JSON. Oh yeah, it needs to install all the things again. Okay, yeah, it's been a while. So let's let this run for a couple more minutes, and then probably in a second it will have updated our web page. Okay, and there we go. So it paused. It's green over here. So if we go back here, we can also see that it paused. So there we go. That's nice. We can see over here that if we go back into our web page and refresh over on your username.gitlab.io, if you set everything up right, if you go into /bachelor-thesis, you will be able to see all of your changes. So I didn't make any proper changes here, so I don't really see anything. But I did add the bachelor thesis, set it to true, so it shows up here in the main navigation. So that's working. If you go back to home, you can still see your home page. If you go back to the portfolio, you can still see your portfolio, which I will be updating this view because I don't really like the look of it right now. So this will be updated in the future. But if you want, you can also start looking at the specific portfolio pages and how to set those up. So you can also take a look at those files inside VS Code to see how to set these up. But right now, we just expect you to create your bachelor thesis and master thesis on this platform. Okay, there we go. That's all for the basic setup of your thesis. In the next videos, I will be going over specific features and how to add things like videos, games, music, audio, all 3D models, all those sorts of special features. So if you have any requests, any questions, notify me and I will take a look. Good luck and see you in the next video.